hi, this is Uigo here, and it's back for another meta-analysis, and this is for version 5.1.1 of Marvel Future Fight, and it's the third edition of our meta-analysis. Now this meta is basically the Jean meta, since Jean got her T3 this update, and it took way too long for us to actually awaken her potential and get her to T3, so this is a bit late. But now we got her in T3 form and did a bit of testing. We can say that she's pretty strong, and it makes the meta very volatile right now. Now T3 Jean, well, we'll say she's very OP. Now she has a fuck ton of damage, excuse my French, but she has a lot of damage on her skills with the 50% all attack increase from a uniform. And she actually tanks it really well as well, because of the resist from her from being a native tier 2 and a lot of resistance added in her passives. So she has 100% of mind resist. So Jean against herself will take very low damage. If you just actually looked at a 5th skill thrown at another Jean, like the little purple ball, the purple singularity that you throw against the other Jean, and when you throw the ball, the damage number is very low. It's like 1 or only 1 HP or 2 HP. But when the ball actually lands, and with the effects being piercing immune guard break and sucks her in, it actually takes a bit more damage. So T3 Jean is right now the staple of the meta. She's on top of every PvP mode that you can put her in. If she's not banned, you definitely use her, because she's just very high damage. T3 skill having stripping of buff or from your opponent and insane damage. She's just really good, and of course she has revive, so you need to kill her twice. And now that her AI is a lot smarter than the old one, because the old Jean you really need her to land the 5th skill to actually kill anything. But right now, she does a lot of different skills. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, they all have very nice damage. So she's a lot more consistent in terms of damage for Jean. Build for Jean, we recommend the CP of Destruction if you are fighting primarily timeline battle. And for AT, we are testing the CP of Regeneration. But currently, for myself, I'll say that I think Destruction performs pretty nice on Jean already. Now, last time I mentioned that Wolverine is basically the upgraded version of Deadpool, being more tanky with his tier 3. But I need to retract the statement, because right now with Jean being very dominant, Wolverine can't survive because he's combat type, and Deadpool's speed type makes him a lot better against Jean. So I need to retract my statement and say that, well, Wolverine's dead, and Deadpool is currently now the better version of Wolverine, because he still have the healing factor, the all kinds of tankiness that he has, but it's just that the type affinity of combat and speed against blast that affects how we want to use him in PvP, like in timeline battle or in Alliance tournament. So with Jean not banned in Alliance tournament, we won't use Wolverine ever. Now Thanos, his place inside PvP is still very solid. He's still very tanky. He doesn't really, because his universal type, he doesn't really get affected by Jean being super OP. But right now Thanos can be killed, somewhat be killed by T3 Jeans if Jean actually activates the T3. It's kind of balanced in terms of, like, if you put a Jean against a Thanos, there's a 50-50% chance for against each other. So I would say that Thanos is still very good in timeline or in AT if it's not banned. Now the other one is Strife, the original one that we used last year to actually replace Jean in AT or in timeline battle, with the debuff effect incapacitation being super strong. Now, the debuff effect is still very, very strong, but for Strife right now, he can't really tank Jean's attack. Since Jean has just super high damage on his skills, Strife if you didn't really land your debuff, your fracture, and your incapacitation on Jean, you die in like 5 seconds in my own testing in AT. So Strive is getting a lot weaker if you are not using him just as a debuff. And of course, if you land a debuff, you can easily kill Jean, Deadpool, Wolverine if you really want to use him, and Thanos as well. So Strive right now is getting a lot weaker because Jean is just super strong. Strive is still a good contender inside the meta with his immune to incapacitation and for debuffing your enemies and just killing Thanos and Deadpool easily. Now, with only incapacitation being very strong for Strive, that makes Fury, Agent Fury, a lot better in the meta right now. Because if we use Strive in a team, if you pit it against a team that has Fury, because Fury with the T2 passive of being immune to incapacitation and deals 50% more damage against supervillain, Strive will die, and Strive will have no effect on your Jean because you have the T2 passive on your entire team. So that makes Fury a very strong contender in the meta as well. In timeline battle, you can just use him against like Thanos, you deal a ton more damage, and the 50% damage against supervillain balance out with the reduced damage that Thanos has on his uniform and his passive. That makes Fury a lot less niche than he was in the previous meta. Now, another one that I want to talk about is perhaps Spidey, because we are having a Spider-Man Far From Home update soon. So would this update actually bring any changes to Spidey's T3 that makes him a bit stronger against Jean? T3 Spidey is a speed type, and the speed type is strong against blast type, and Jean is a blast type. And Spider-Man has a lot of debuff, the webbing. If the matches actually last for more than 12 seconds, then Spidey can actually web your opponent. So he might have a chance, but I'm not very optimistic about it. But currently, it's just the way to win AT or timeline is to figure out a combination that can maximize your Jean's damage. So a combination like Jean, Fury, and then Victorious for the HP buff for Jean is actually very popular in timeline. And for AT, we've been experimenting with Jean, Fury Strive, Jean, Fury Deadpool, these kinds of combinations. So I hope that you have a little bit more understanding of the meta in Marvel Future Fight, and I hope you like this video. If you have any comments, tell me, and if you like it, give it a like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.